So your favorite character in figure form is sitting on your shelf, but does it need a companion piece? Everybody needs a companion, not just figures, but people too, and Drago here is mine. Now, we're going to get into that topic of companion pieces as far as collecting goes in just a second, but if you follow me on any other media sites, you know that my little companion, Drago, had quite the health emergency, and I wanted to let everyone know here officially that my little companion has made it back home safely, and that he, myself, and my wife are truly grateful for the outpouring of love, concern, prayers, good vibes, whatever it is that you send our way. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put him back to bed, but you can make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and you can give me a like on this video. You wouldn't want Drago to think that his cameo on this video was in vain, would you?
5 minutes later.
So now, the idea of a companion piece. Do you really need them? What are they? And how to decide? And what are some of my favorites? Let's start with what they are. In short, a companion piece is exactly what it sounds like. It's a companion or an add-on to an already existing figure that you have. Its purpose is to enhance the display and give it more substance, perhaps through colors, through building of a scene, or maybe it is as simple as two iconic characters sharing that shelf as a dynamic duo. If you have a figure sitting on your shelf or in a display and you're thinking, they would look really good with one another with an extra figure next to them, then you might need to be smart about what your next purchase could or should be. When deciding on whether to consider adding a new piece to your collection, you need to be intentional with your selection, and that may in fact be the most important part about a companion piece. Yes, Batman and Star-Lord are cool characters, and they may be your favorite, but they aren't companion pieces to enhance each other. So how do you make these ever so important decisions? Well, knowing some options, of course, and that's what I'm going to give you today. So what are the types of examples of companion pieces, and what are my favorites? Well, I'm certainly glad you asked. Well, let's first take a look here at some dynamic duos. The dynamic duos are characters that just go together, like PB&J, like pepperoni on a pizza, or if you're old enough to partake, like Jack and Coke. Perhaps none more iconic than Han Solo and Chewbacca the Wookiee. Of course, there's 3PO and R2, but the Smuggler and Wookiee are just so much more lovable. And this is a great example of shelf presence, as well as just two really cool looking characters. Sometimes you get lucky and these figures are released as a 2-pack. Other times you may have to go and hunt them down, like these two. Now, if you're a fan of Back to the Future, it's kind of hard not to have one without the other. Doc and Marty are a dynamic duo, and they just go together. These from Part 2 are awesome, but since we now have this version of Marty from the first film, I'm so glad that Hot Toys has given us the appropriate Doc to go with him, which should be releasing really soon as of this recording. So in addition to the dynamic duos, there's another category, heroes and villains. After all, a hero is only as good as his or her antagonist, right? To me, one of the most compelling companion pieces is having a Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, the symbol of good and hope versus the epitome of evil and destruction. There are several Vaders out there, as well as several Lukes, so you can pick a scene out of Empire or Return of the Jedi, and everyone will know what iconic moment that you are displaying. Next up would be Batman and the Joker, two equally iconic characters, and as the Joker himself said in The Dark Knight, I think you and I are destined to do this forever. Now when it comes to these two, there are two camps. The Nolan Dark Knight or the Burton 1989 movies. Each are unique, each are pretty awesome, and until recently, each was a little difficult to come by. The Dark Knight figures are far more readily available now, and a new in-art Joker is just around the corner, but the 89 Batman pieces are still tougher to get. But if you can snag them, you will not be disappointed in that shelf. So we've done duos, we've done heroes and villains, now let's move on to the most flexible option, that being teams and troop building. Let's go ahead and start with troop building. And this is mainly for Star Wars because war is right in the title, there are dozens of trooper variants. You can opt for some of the multiples of the same design, slight variations, or leaders and underlings. They all look good. And while troops make up a good team, the true team up to me is the most fun. Now, here are two of my favorite pieces in the collection, and that is the team up of Hulk and Thor from Ragnarok. The Gladiator Hulk is an absolute unit, and paired with Gladiator Thor, that shelf has become a chef's kiss. But how about the actual teams, like Guardians of the Galaxy? Yes, it's awesome if you have them all, but you can easily justify a combination of any of them and know exactly who they are. Drax and Gamora, Rocket and Groot, Groot and Drax, they're all interchangeable, and that makes for a very versatile companion piece. Lastly, there are the figures with a common tie. Maybe they are related, maybe they're in the same movie or TV show. Whatever the tie that binds them, make sure that there is a tie there. One of my favorite shelves is my Wanda shelf. Here's obviously Wanda in the front and center, flanked by her brother Quicksilver, her love Vision, and her antagonist, the first Ultron. All these figures have a thread that tie them together, and I think that makes for a really nice display option. Okay, so we talked through some examples of finding a good companion piece, but now here's the tricky part. Do you need them? Because we as collectors may very well quickly jump up and say, of course I do! What a silly question! But let's pump the brakes and think critically about a few things. Number one is, do I have the room for it? And this is really important. A display can quickly become a hoard if not handled properly, and yes, I know there are plenty of people out there that probably think that I'm teetering on the edge of having too many myself. Depending on your display of choice, you may in fact not have room to add in any other figure. Smashing figures into an area just to say that you have them is not collecting. And I'm sorry, but that is hoarding. If you cannot display them in a thought-out, intentional manner, perhaps you should rethink your current collection and make adjustments before rushing to add the next piece. I've said before, and I've been having to do it a lot myself lately, I'm pretty much running out of room. So if a new figure is going to come in that I really want, then I need to stop and find a way to make room for it. Maybe selling, maybe adding an extra display, whatever it is, make sure you can display them. Number two is, will this addition build my attachment to my current collection? As I said in the beginning, a companion piece is meant to enhance your collection, not scratch an itch because you haven't bought something new or simply grabbing something you don't want or you want to try to earn some fake internet points. Remember, collecting should be a hobby and an extension of you. Make sure that it's not an addiction and a new purchase being that to make you feel good for a moment and then it's on to the next one. These figures are way too expensive for that. And finally, speaking of price and the most important, can I afford this piece right now? Times are tough right now, and especially during the holidays. Don't put yourself or your family at a financial risk because you want a new figure. This is just supposed to be a fun hobby, not life-altering. If you're wanting a new piece but the money isn't there, wait. Practicing patience is also a great way to check yourself and making sure that this is something that you really actually want and you're not acting on emotion. Well, that's it for us today, but now it's your turn to sound off. Let me know down below what's your favorite companion piece that you own, or what companion piece you're considering to add in next. Let me know down below. I also mentioned on IG that I'm trying to finish up the year strong, so this is video one of a new video each week until the end of the year. Make sure you're subscribed and help us head into the new year over 5,000. That would certainly be awesome. So until next time, happy holidays, and I'll be seeing you in our next video.